What's going on, everybody? Seneca here. Ihavenoinnergeek. Drive Time podcast. First installment of I Have No Inner Singing Voice. This podcast will just deal with songs that I've looked for in my life before Shazam existed, before I was able to identify what you're hearing on a commercial in a split second. When you used to have to write down the lyrics and try and search online, which in itself was friggin' crazy. So to preface this, in my life right now, there's only one song that I'm looking for. So I've had these music quests through my life, and this song that I'm looking for is a little commercial jingle that was used for arachnophobia whenever it broadcast on WPIX 11, and I haven't been able to find it on YouTube. I haven't been able to find it whenever I search anywhere online, and it was a song that highlighted the name of the town, Canaima, and that's how the commercial went. It was just, it says, "Come on down, take a trip, Canaima's waiting for you," and it would intersplice, John Goodman killing the spiders. It was rock and roll, and all other types of craziness that went on in the film that is arachnophobia. So yes, that's the last song that I'm looking for in my life. I haven't been able to find it. So if anybody got any information on that, let me know if you guys have any info on that, because I've been looking for that for years. All right. So this initial I Have No Inner Singing Voice music quest part 1 is what I would consider like a pretty interesting story. So that's why I got it lined up to tell for the first time. This story is going to splinter all over a bunch of places. We're going to do some rabbit holes. We're going to go here. We're going to go there. And as always, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for listening, even though you're not done listening to it yet. And I hope you haven't cut it off yet. So yeah, just hit that subscribe button and check back here when I throw up the enhanced visual versions of these podcasts, because they take time. The editing takes time. I get time into my schedule to do that. And, I throw the basic ones down here. But I'm not necessarily always going to do the visually enhanced ones all the time. But anyway, let's get down to it, all right? Years ago, and I'm not sure on the time, I'd probably spin it back 7 years, 8 years. I'll go back and I'll verify, and I'll throw that in when this exactly happened. I was on my way to work one morning, and on the radio station, and I believe it's a local Rutgers station that would play, so it wasn't like the clearest thing in the world when it was broadcasting. But there was this song that I was able to record using the cell phone that I had at the time. As a matter of fact, this is the cell phone. This is it right here. Originally, I just planned on using a stock photo of it, but I actually found the actual phone, but there's no power to it. I imagine I probably have some porn or something still stored on it, so I might want to power it up and see what I got on there, so to bring back some memories. I was able to grab a decent clip of the song. It's about probably a good minute and a half stretch of the song. But again, this is before Shazam existed. Before I had access to Shazam. Yeah, which would be before it existed. Way to go, Jack Hole. When I got to work, I immediately started listening to it. When I got to work, when I got my first opportunity, I got my break, I listened to the lyrics and began to wrote the lyrics down for what I could make out. And the lyrics that I made out were something about wolves and werewolves crowding around your door, something about reaching ashore, or something about chucking chicken, some other bullshit. I don't know. It was quite a few lyrics, and like I said, I had like a decent minute and a half of the song. So every few weeks or so, which would become every few months, I would type in the lyrics and I could never find the song. Nothing would ever come up. And understand, like, music is a big part of my life, and commercial jingles, theme songs, whatever the hell. But there was a website that always came in handy and still exists to this day. It's called AdTunes. And AdTunes, I can remember subscribing to it, hell, a dozen years ago or so. And it was like the greatest website forum of all time for someone who loves different songs that often pop up in commercials. You would always have to just put the lyrics in, put a couple of lyrics in. If that didn't work, you could just put it in the commercial and it would break it down, and it'd be other people, of course, out there looking for the same song, and boom, it's right there. You go, download it on iTunes. You definitely wouldn't use any sort of a third-party ripper to get it for free. So, nothing on these lyrics about these wolves and werewolves and shit. So, it's time to split off and to tell this other part of the story. At some point, a friend of mine, fellow co-worker, I had to record something for this guy. And I inadvertently recorded over the recording of the song that day. And I was pissed. And I never said anything because it didn't matter. And all Bud ever does is bust my balls anyway, so it wouldn't matter, you know? It just sucked because I'd had it for so friggin' long, and it would have been awesome if I had it when Shazam came around, because I get to see, like, having my iPhone, Shazam's here, I got this phone charged, boom, bing, bang, bing, bang, I got it, I got the song, here we go. But that didn't happen because I wanted recording over it with some undoubtedly jerk-off type of friggin' stuff that didn't make any difference to anything. Undoubtedly. If it was related to Bud and me having a conversation, then I can guarantee you that it wasn't related to anything that was important at all. Definitely not as important as me finding out this song that I've been looking for like friggin' weeks, months, years. It's just a quest. That's why it's a quest. Anyways, let's hit this part of the rabbit hole. My buddy Chad loves the original Office that starred Ricky Gervais. And again, if you guys aren't familiar with my rabbit holes, then this is a brilliant way to break you guys into it. It's gonna make sense in the end. There may not necessarily be a connection. Sometimes when there's rabbit holes, there's a loose connection. So, here's how this one goes. You'll notice that the low-pitch hum is now gone. That's because your heart has stopped, Clara Oswalt. And that's because the car has stopped. So, Chad loved the original Office, and he always refused to watch the American version. And I told him, you know, you're doing yourself a great disservice by not watching the U.S. version of The Office. I mean, you don't necessarily have to compare the two, because ultimately it's a different cast of characters.
They are not just
Steve Carell did his own thing, even when Gervais came in as David Brent, did his own thing, was a different character. So again, people aren't mimicking the other characters; they're creating their own characters. So it was a hilarious show. There was another BBC-produced show called Life on Mars that starred John Sim as a cop, in which he's shot in the head and he is stuck in a coma. He's in a coma, but at the same time, it seems that it's transported him through time. So you don't know whether or not he's really in a coma or if he's really been transported back through time. And there's this whole back and forth, and it was a wonderfully written show. And they decided to adapt it for U.S. audiences, starring Harvey Keitel, and I believe it was Jason O'Mara. who is the voice of Batman right now. So Chad watched this show, and he liked it. He thought it was pretty good. And I told him that I wouldn't watch it because I loved the original so much, so I know they would probably tank it and they'd probably screw it up. So I wasn't going to watch it. So you guys see where this is going. And it's still going someplace else. Also, it got canceled after one season on the U.S. version of it, whereas the original UK series ran for, I think, either 3 series or 4 series, and then they even spun it off into a sequel show entitled Ashes to Ashes. It was also named after a David Bowie song, which the original show is also named after. Anyway, take that, and there's another BBC show called Being Human about a werewolf, a vampire, and a ghost all living in a house together. The UK version of the program ran for about 5 or 6 seasons, and the performance of the show was pretty level. It got better as it went on, but it was a pretty good show. They did a US version on Sci-Fi Channel, of which I refused to watch. And I refused to watch it for the entire run of the season. It was about 12 or 13 episodes. And the one day that the finale was going to run, I decided, hey, you know what, let me check it out. Let me see just exactly what they do. I was home from work that day. I had the day off. And I said, and Sci-Fi Channel was marathoning it because it was the finale. So I said, hey, let me go ahead and check out what they do here. If they do their own thing, if they completely recreate everything that happened in the original series or not. So I get a couple episodes in, and it's not bad. I'm not mad at it. And I think it's about the 4th episode, as it starts to close out, a song starts to play while George, or what was his, I can't remember the US version's name right off the top of my head, turns into the werewolf. And sure enough, the song's talking about wolves and werewolves knocking at your door, to which I look at the screen freaking startled and just hop right on PC and type it in. Being Human, episode 4, whatever, wolves and werewolves, and there it is. And thus I give you Wolves and Werewolves by The Pack, AD.
Chicken, come on in.
are okay with me rambling, you like to listen to a fool just say foolish things, and you might be able to pick up a glint of entertainment in there, like and subscribe, suggest it to people, don't suggest it to people, I don't know. But I appreciate you guys taking your time to listen to this fool ramble. Thank you. Bye.